What's going on, people? Welcome to the live fan cam. I'm Diyar and I'm joined by Stan and Chris here to talk about that victory over Sheffield United. It's been a while and we're finally back for the fan cam. First of all, how you guys been? What's been going on?
Good, mate.
Good. All right, cool. Nothing exciting. All right, let's talk.
Sweet as a nut.
Yeah,
there you go.
Just normal world that we're living in. Nothing really exciting. Just good. But let's talk about this game. Palace finally get a victory. I expected us to go out there and get a victory. I don't know. It'll be. I guess I'll say comfortable. But look, we're having this conversation before the game, and we'll go straight into it. It was against Sheffield United. But I mean, Stan, you were talking about before the game, you know, there's nothing to be excited about because it's against them. But surely you can only beat who's in front of you.
Yeah, and we made hard work of it, if you ask me. We did make hard work of it. We let the second half, there were periods of long ball, periods of them attacking us. I mean, they are terrible. I mean, it's been a very, very long time since I've seen such a bad Premier League team as them. And look, fair play to the team. They got the goals, they got the points, and obviously we're mathematically safe for another year. But I mean, that's what's it called? I don't think it was a good performance at all.
That's interesting, though. What wasn't it? But surely, look, we had so many shots on target. Maybe it wasn't a good performance in terms of in front of goal. But I mean, yes, they're 20th, and I understand what you've said. But there's nothing much we can do apart from maybe being more clinical in front of goal.
Yeah, I think so. I think the keeper made one or two good saves as well, and he's been terrible all season as well. Honestly, like this season, now that we're mathematically safe, I mean, it's just like I've been so uninspired. I think since Man United away at Old Trafford when we played champagne football for 90 minutes, I don't think we've put in a performance worthy of it. To be honest, maybe West Brom against 10 men. I just, you know. Like today, like the changes he made, he brought on Ayew. I mean, like how is he anywhere near a Premier League squad? I just thought he missed two sitters. It was shocking.
Yeah, Chris, what do you think about it? You got a smile on your face.
No,
you're not upset.
I get where Stan's coming from, 110%. Yeah, this team is pony, but I sit on the other fence where it's like, you can only beat what's in front of you. And in the Premier League, I've always had this mentality that it don't matter if you win by 1 goal or 10 goals, a win's a win in the Premier League. They're hard to come by. You know, there's only 19 other teams to play, you know, you play against sort of thing. So overall, you know, we did the job. I think the worry thing is obviously this year we can't like turn away from the stats. You know, the stats around our club are pretty poor. And I don't like going by the stats, but I think we do need to have a little look at them. That when you've got players like Andros Townsend and, you know, Stan just mentioned Jordan Ayew, I don't mind them as players, but realistically, what have they contributed this season? You know, they both only scored 1 goal each. And that really sums up the season. You know, again, Stan just touched on it, that we played champagne football against United. That was our best performance. And this year's just been, I think, a bit of a write-off, and I think the performance today just sort of, you know, solidified that really. Yeah,
look, I'm playing a bit of devil's advocate here. Like, I agree with Stan. Like, even whilst you heard my voice before it, like, it's like we won this game, but we've got nothing to play for. It was against Sheffield United. It's all good, but there are some positives out of the game which we'll talk about. I mean, we did win 2-0, but yeah, it's pretty much meaningless. It's like what we're going to do against Southampton. That's what matters to me now. Are we going to go out there with the same formation? Are we going to go out there, you know, having 7 shots on target? Because that's what will probably show. Southampton ain't great by any means. They're falling off quickly. Like, I don't know. I think they're below us or around the same level of points as us. Yeah, but it's going to be more competitive. Yeah. We're talking about a team we faced with only 17 points in 34 games. Like, that is, with all due respect, that is shit. And I think they know that as well.
They've scored 18 goals all season.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And conceded how many? Like, their defense is terrible.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens in the next game. But there were some changes, though. It's not like we went out there with our 4-4-2 formation, with Jordan Ayew starting, even though you're not a massive fan of it. He came off the bench. So there were some changes. Jeffrey started in midfield. Eze was more central as well. Wolf out wide. It was a 4-3-3. What do you make of them changes? I'll go to you, Luke. Thank you for joining us. What do you make of them changes from Roy?
I mean, it was good to see some changes in a tweak of the system. But this is what bothers me. Why can't we do it on a more regular basis? Why can't we do it more? Like, why can't we see Eze more in a central role instead of like towards the end of the season? Why can't we do it a few weeks ago? But it was good to see the changes. It was quite refreshing to see Eze more centrally and Wilf out wide. And I think Andros looked really good today. I mean, as you keep saying about the goals, he struggles to get goals. If we had like another winger who can just score goals like Will, like
Hold on, Luke, did you say Andros looked good today?
yeah,
Mate, I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm with
think
Stan on that. I'm with Stan on that. It's a bit. Yeah,
He couldn't he couldn't deliver a corner. He was terrible.
He tried. Yeah, he tried. I mean, yeah, with the corners, I don't know if that was intentional. Hopefully, it was because them corners were poor. I don't know what he's thinking with the corners, but I don't know.
no, with Andros is doing the same things as a player he's been doing for the last 5 years. Do you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't really change his game over. You always know he's going to chop inside. Where like Wilf such a, you go left, right, you don't know whether it's going to be a step over or whatnot, it's going to come at you. Whereas Andros is so predictable and he's been like that for years and years and years. I can't remember the last time we looked at Andros and said, fucking hell, that was a great game by Andros. I wanted to see the Andros at Palace that we saw at Newcastle. That we saw that Spurs were going on about. You know what I mean? Like, he was a mustard player. He's got a shot on him, I know it, but he's just not doing it. So, yeah, like, Tony.
But look, he was trying to put crosses into the box to Benteke, who scored a goal after 1 minute. We had a very fast start to the game. And there was this debate that was having whether, with Benteke's situation, what do you do if you're Palace? Do you go and renew his contract? I mean,
sign him up,
you have to realize
100%.
that he scored all these goals under a manager who talks about him being a defensive striker, which I never heard of before, but that's how he sees his whole team as defenders. And he still managed to score 7 goals. And last season he contributed as well, not with goals, but I feel like he had a solid season. So where do we stand with Benteke? He's been linked with Fenerbahce in Turkey, but with me, I don't think it's as straightforward as you, Chris, because it depends on it depends on the manager. I mean, if Sean Dyche comes in, then I think there's a no-brainer that Benteke should stay. But if you say Eddie Howe, then do we need Benteke? Like, there's that question in the back of my mind.
Look at the Belgium squad, yeah? Belgium have always got a manager that's playing, decent football and whatnot. They play, near enough like the Dutch style, total football. And Benteke is always in that squad. And all the managers always want him in that squad. I think Benteke offers way much more to us than just a hitting hope player. Like, you see it. Like, he has got, this is why Big Nasty calls them techers. Yeah, he has got techers. Trust me. And
yes.
And I look at the striker situation, right? If we all break it down to our strikers at the moment, let's be honest, right? Mateta isn't actually a Palace player anyway, right? So, and we've got him on loan for next season. That's why he's not a Palace player. He's going back to Chelsea. And then we've got Benteke, and it's like, he's a Palace player. Give him a new contract. 100%.
So I don't know if you heard about us. We're talking about Benteke there. I'm basically not too sure in regarding whether he should be staying. Well, he's gone again. Well, I'll go to you, Chris. What do you think?
Yeah.
Not Chris, not Luke. What do you think with the Benteke situation?
Well, I'll get rid of him and then make room for one of the younger players in the under 18s.
Who?
That guy, whatever his name is, the striker who keeps banging in all those goals.
But look, this is a problem with the under 18 situations. Like,
this is it.
I mean, they're under 18s still. They're still got room for development. Don't get me wrong, they're doing very well at the under 18s level. But even with the Sean Derry and Paddy McCarthy manager rumors, that they're doing well for the under 18s. Under 18s is completely different to first team. Now, I'm not saying that some of the players that you might mention I'm not saying that they'll be bad for the first team, but they've still got room for development. It's going to be a bit harsh on, putting an under 18-year-old and putting all that pressure on them and just selling Benteke. I feel like their time will come, but I'm not too sure if anyone in the under 18s stands out for me that much that there should be a starter in the first team next season in the Premier League, in the Premier League season, which is going to be under different managers. I think it's more complicated than that. You might put him on the bench, but I don't know. I see it as hard. Let us know in the chat as well. But I don't know, Luke. That's how I see it. I think it's a bit hard just putting the under 18s into the first team.
It is an interesting one because I look at the youngsters as well. When you look at the youngster squad, they've been very successful this year, and in a roundabout way, you want to keep that core players playing together. Yeah, so they've gone from under 18s. I don't know what the next year group is, whether it's going to be under 19s or under 23s or whatnot. But keeping that core players under 23s, yeah. So let's be honest. If you look at the players in the under 23s, they're not going to make the Palace squad. I think the under 18s potentially, if they keep playing together, I'd like to see someone like, there's a lot of hype around that Rak Saiki guy, or excuse my pronunciation. Yeah. So there's a lot of hype around him, and I think might see him integrated. But essentially, these are boys; they're not fully developed yet. And if they went up against two big centre halves like Everton or even Sheffield United today, they're going to get muscled out.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting topic because some people do want Benteke, some people want him to go. But Oliver saying need to rebuild. How is the man? So I don't think it's going to be as straightforward. But with the
if we got rid of Benteke, right? I heard something the other day, right, when they broke down all the players in who are out of contract, and I think they were saying, there's like 3 players there that are probably worth a little bit of money. Yeah, not like tens of millions of pounds, but worth a few bob here and there. And Benteke, PVA, and even Andros, they're worth a little bit of money, but the stats haven't been there. And so when I look at Benteke, I think you would get 15 mil for Benteke, right? Now, are Palace going to go out and replace him with a 15 mil striker? Who could we replace him with? Now, I'd love someone like that Tony at Brentford, but are Brentford going to sell him for 15 mil? Hell no. They're going to want 28 mil or 30 mil.
Yeah.
So there's that fine balance of like, what are Palace's plans for the future and how much money is available? And that's why I think Benteke should be offered a new contract. It's a little bit cheaper.
I agree. So talking about another player, I want to talk about, who was it? Wilf, because we were talking about him pre-game as well. Look, there's some people saying he's disinterested. I'm not too sure where that's coming from, but he was put in a different position with change of formations, more out wide. What did you guys make of his performance today? I mean, some people, I don't know if he's this. I don't think he's disinterested. I think he was playing off an injury. Roy said it last week when we played. So I think that plays a part. And maybe him playing out wide, it's a bit different to him playing out front. He's not as involved as he would be up front because he's got that freedom where he can just come into the middle and get it. But what do you guys make of his performance?
I think it's the worst performance he's had in a while. But I don't think you can ever accuse Wilf of not wanting to play for Palace or not wanting to do this or not wanting to do that. He was shit today. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think we can ever accuse him of that. If it wasn't for Wilf this season and every season since he's come back, we'd be in big trouble. So I allow him the odd bad game. Do you know what I mean?
There's something there. I think there's something wrong. I think there's an injury there because Roy mentioned it last week.
Look, mate, he's playing for Roy Hodgson. He's playing for Roy Hodgson, who at the end of the day, I know that he's done great in past seasons for this club, but look at the football this team is playing. It is like, be honest, are any of us going to watch the remaining games? I don't think I can bring myself to do it. It's like
that's another point I was making as well. Yeah, because it's not easy. 4 years of Roy Hodgson, especially last year, when you look at Will's, goal scoring and assist record last year, it wasn't that great because he was playing out wide and the system didn't even help him. And then you're looking at this season and forget about that. He's like 28, 29. He's just thinking, why am I stuck here at 28, 29 whilst I'm in my prime playing for a manager who doesn't want to play attacking football? Like, I'm not that player to go back and defend. So I feel like that there's a build-up of frustration that might affect him as well.
Yeah, playing these rubbish tactics. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is what it is, mate.
Yeah. Look, 4-3-3.
It is hard. Yeah. It is hard for someone like Wilf, to be excited for each game. You know, like when you've got, you know, going back to Stan's point, like Roy as a manager. I respect Roy for what he's done for the club. He's done wonders for the club, to be honest. Like, if you look at all the teams in the Premier League, I think we're about, you know, the 11th most consecutive in the Premier League, sort of thing. So, you know, we're doing well, but players like Wilf, they need a bit more. And I feel like with Eze coming in the summer, he was probably hoping for Palace to really kick on. But I think it's taken us a while to find Eze's best position. And I think that's been half the issue with Palace this year.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about Eze. I mean, he was man of the match, clearly, for me. I don't know about you guys.
He was brilliant.
He stood out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again,
he was brilliant.
Look who he was playing.
Yeah. I know that. And he was brilliant against Sheffield United last time around when we faced them. And he scored a similar type of goal. And I know that we're not going to play Sheffield United every week in, week out. But where he started in the middle of the pitch, don't you think that's his best position? We've been calling for it. I've been calling for it. I think he's more suited centrally, and he delivered once again.
He is a 10, and maybe working out his best position has been tough for us. But like, look at teams around us that have come up after us. Leeds, 9 points ahead of us now, right? They're not even. They're in their first season. They've just battered Spurs. We just roll over and die for these sorts of teams. Villa, miles better than us. Do you know what I mean? Actual investments. 16 players out of contract this season we've got. I'm telling you, enjoy today, because the next 4 games are going to be shit. And then after that...
I already know that.
Yeah, but I think it's a little bit unfair still. I think it's a little bit unfair to compare us still with Villa, Leicester and Leeds. Like, even though Leeds have just come up, you know, they spent like 20 odd mil on a striker. You know, they've got money and they've got a... You know, and there's something about Leeds as well. Like, I think we're a little bit hard on Palace still. Like, I know it's not great, but I still don't think we can compete.
Yeah, Chris, how are we hard on? How would you say we're hard on Palace?
Because I look at it and I go, like, with you know, Villa and Leeds and Leicester, 3 clubs that you've just compared us to. Now, go through, like, you know, net spend on each of those clubs. They've probably been outspending us for the last sort of God knows how many years. I think there was probably only one summer when Palace went a little bit crazy spending money, which was like Benteke, Sacco and people like that. Otherwise, what are we expecting from Palace? Like, seriously, like, we're just a 13th, 14th team.
Yeah, but I'm expecting a scouting system, which we don't have. Barry Simmons was the chief scout there until a while ago, and he, like, to say that he doesn't know a good player when he sees one is an understatement. There's no scouts in Europe. We've been in the Premier League. It's going to be our 9th season now. Look at the state of it. It's shocking. It is absolutely shocking. I know, but we're still it's going to take us a while to get up to the speed and to get up to the depth of the Villas and Leeds and things like that. We've had enough time. We've had enough time.
No, it's an interesting debate. It's an interesting debate. Yeah. I feel like this summer is one of the biggest summers we've got, because we've got so many players out of 100%. Contract. So if you want to do a rebuild, I think it's now. And I think one thing,
you're not any fan watching this that thinks that they're going to coming back after 6 weeks off and there's going to be a rebuild, etc., etc. He's deluded, mate. He's deluded. I don't know where the money is in this club, but I'm telling you now, they're going to renew the likes of Scott Dan, who is nigh on useless. Great servant for the club, but he's useless now. He's finished, right? They're going to renew Cahill and maybe one other, and then they've got to go out to the market and buy players. And I'm telling you, next season, they're looking at a relegation. They are 100% looking at it because they won't spend money.
I agree with that, Stan. I agree with that. I think next season is going to be a struggle. I really do think. Yeah. And I agree.
It's the end of the Premier League.
Yeah. There is a slight concern in me that's going to happen, because if you looked at it today, right? If you look at, you know, it's very easy, Palace, to look at the table, and we could quite easily finish 17th this year. And then when you finish 17th, one place above relegation, you're going to be favourites to go down the following season. And Palace have been flirting with that.
They've already got us.
I think our next match is going to be a struggle. I think it depends on who we got. I think if it's Roy, which I doubt it, but I think if it's Roy, I think we're 100% going down. I really do think these comments about Roy being, the man who's keeping us up. I feel like we overrate it at times and oversay it. I feel like Zaha's played a big part.
Yeah, this season's been completely different. I'm just saying.
I hate this season. I'll be honest. I hate it.
So
this season has been shit.
I'm telling you, we're potentially looking at a double relegation. That is where this club is going. So, beat Sheffield United, lovely, terrible performance, and it's continuing as far as I can see it.
I feel like we've got under 18s, the new academy facilities. So I think that's one area to look forward to, and I don't think we're in a bad situation like that, though, Stan. I really don't. I feel like we could be, but it depends on what we do this summer. We could be, but it depends on what we do. I don't think right now we are.
I think we're in a pretty bad situation, to be honest with you. But like you said, the academy is very positive. All that news, that state-of-the-art facility that's being built there. But someone needs to come and bring 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 million to the playing squad. Because that's what we can't.
That's the problem.
Well, if we can't, then do you think this summer is the right time to cash in on Zaha? We might not get 60, 70, but we might get, 50, 60. Do you think it's the right time? Okay. What about you, Chris?
So. And I think,
I probably actually agree with Stan. And to be honest, like I've been thinking about it for a good few months now. I think now I'd be quite happy for Wilf to sort of go. Like not happy, because obviously he's a legend at the club. But I want to see Palace without Wilf in a roundabout way. I want to see Palace, see how we can cope a full season. Because again, I talk about these stats and things like that, and I know they're not great, but it's just like I feel like Palace can be a team without Wilf, and I'm glad that we sort of mentioned about Eze as well, because we've spoken about Eze for so long, saying he's a number 10, but actually we've seen a lot of games recently where he's been playing like a 6 or an 8. And actually, that's a better position for him. Like seeing someone like Eze glide with the ball, like a David Silva from the halfway line all the way up to the 18-yard box. I feel like I'd like to give Eze that crown now. Do you know what I mean?
I don't think he's on those levels. And I think that I think we owe it to Zaha to let him have another crack. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think we owe it to him to let him go. He's done a lot for us. If you're going to sell him, who are you bringing in? Because you're not going to do it with Ayew. You're not going to do it with Luka, with Gyro, because Luka and Ayew especially, they're not good enough. You know what I mean? They're not good enough for this division. They're not good enough to consistently perform. You're not going to do it with Scott Dan. You can't just keep recycling the same old rubbish all the time.
No. So do you reckon, Stan? Do you reckon if Palace sold Wilf in the summer, do you reckon we would offset those funds with getting a few extra players in to sort of like offset all the guys that are out of contract? Like if we got 50 mil or 45 mil for Wilf the summer, what do you reckon would happen with that money?
I reckon they'd do exactly the same as they did with the Wan-Bissaka money.
Nah, come on, they can't. I think they know that as well. With the Wan-Bissaka money, there's this debate where, COVID's hit, but even before COVID, there's this debate where do you want to spend all this money right now when we're going to have a new manager coming in after Roy? So might as well save up for him. I feel like if we sold Wilf, we'll get replacements, but the question is, do we get a replacement or replacements? Do we get go big on one player?
Here's one question for you. And I've said this on here before. When was the last time Palace signed a player and you went, he makes us better straight away?
Kabay.
There you go.
What about Saka?
Straight away at the top of my head, just for the pure fact of like, that was the marquee signing of Palace. It's like, Kabay is someone we've been crying out for.
What about Saka?
Saka in his prime, maybe.
But Liverpool fans, when Palace brought him, Liverpool fans were laughing at us. They were going, "You've paid how much for an injury-prone defender?"
No, but when he first joined us on loan, he was. He played a massive part.
Really loved it.
Of course, we didn't know he's going to be this injury-prone.
But that's how far you're going back when you think when you're thinking like a player that actually comes in and is like, "Yeah, he makes us better."
Well, actually,
I'm not
gonna lie. I was excited about Eze.
Yeah.
And
he's a prospect.
I was.
He's a
There's more
prospect.
to it. I think
at the same time, there was that side of it where it's like I feel like he can make us better though, but
And he has made us better.
it's a
but
mix.
I'm just saying it's a prospect. I'm just saying like a 25, 26-year-old player that you can bring in. You think right, he makes us right. We're going to go places with him.
Yeah,
They haven't done it in so long, mate. That summer when they went a bit mad, they bought
No,
Connor
we still-
Wickham, all them players, like those players that just haven't worked out.
yeah. Or it's injuries. You know, that's the thing. Like we love James. Like we all love a bit of James Tompkins. Can't kick a ball at the moment. He's always injured.
Yeah.
It's like
But I
we
feel
buy
like-
the wrong players in a way.
Yeah, look, this summer we're going to see what the club is, because the club knew this from time ago. It's not now. They knew this from time ago. So they should have a plan in place for if we do sell Wolf. They should have like multiple plans for different scenarios. So we'll see what happens. But one thing that I'll say with the rebuild is that it's not going to happen over one summer. I think that's pretty much unrealistic because of the amount of players that we got. So, this summer we can start it, but also it depends on who we offer contracts to and who comes in. But I feel like, next season will be interesting. But look, talking about this game, 2-0 win over Sheffield United, and looking ahead to the next game, what do you guys think against Southampton? Any changes? Do you think you'll keep with the same formation and try to go at it again?
I think he will, because I think we're mathematically safe, and I'd like to see us go at them because they're not that good. They're dodgy at the back, and they're not that good, and I'd like to see us give them a game.
Yeah.
Chris, agree?
I think you'll see the same lineup, and I would like to see the same lineup probably as well. And I would like to see same with Stan. I'd love to see Palace go at Southampton. Their back four's been shit, and I'd love to see us run rings around James Ward-Prowse. I can't stand him.
Yeah, he's a rat, isn't he?
He's a rat.
Yeah,
mate.
he's going to piss us off. Trust
ferret.
me. Yeah, he's going to piss us off in that game.
He's too Bob as well. He is too Bob. Like, I don't rate him at all.
Yeah. Luke, I don't know if you're. I think Luke's frozen again. All right. I think there's a connection issue with Luke, and he gets frozen at the wrong time. They're doing dirty with the freezer. But look, it looks realistic. It seems like he's listening to us. Let me remove Luke so people don't get confused. But look, I think same lineup. But once again, it's the intent for me. At this point, yes, the lineup today was great. The formation today was good. But it's about what we're going to do against Southampton. Are we going to sit back or are we going to go at them? If we go at them, then that's great. If we just sit back, then it's going to be the same old. But
just one last point about today's game. In his press conference yesterday, Roy Hodgson even let them know 24 hours before Sheffield United that Palace are going to bring the game to them, and they still couldn't do anything. Do you know? That's how bad they are. Yet we couldn't put them away until the last minute of the game.
Yeah, I don't think they care, Sheffield United, honestly. Like, what? Even if they win all their games, they're still going to finish 20th. They're already in the championship mode.
Quickly, though, just a little big up on the last two games. Tyrek Mitchell.
Yeah.
Like, last two games.
Yeah, we don't even need to talk about him because...
No, I do, because I've got my love for PVA.
Yeah, so for PVA, and I don't like it because the love for PVA is... No, your love for PVA is too much. Like, you overrate him. You overrate his attacking influence. He's not that good. He's literally not that good in terms of going forward. And it's the biggest blessing that Mitchell's come in. The reason why I'm not talking about him is because everyone already knows. Like, Mitchell, he's the man for us. He should have been starting a long time ago. I don't understand why we've been trying to start a 30-year-old defender who can't defend, who's going to be leaving at the end of the season. But look, Mitchell, Roy's been talking about as well. But look, I'm going to wrap up now. Thanks to everyone who joined us. And until next time, up the Palace.